Today I want to talk to you about willpower and mindfulness meditation. And it all started about 2 years ago. One day I get a telephone call from a Dr. Kuznia, a naturopathic physician with a clinic out of New Jersey that's been established for some 10 years or so. "Daddy," she says, "I need your help." "Sure," I said, "What's up? What are daddies for anyway?" "Daddy," she says, "for the last 10 years, I've been seeing patients in my clinic, very serious conditions, diabetes, high blood pressure, depressed immune systems, and they all come in, I sit them down, examine their chart, do an in-depth assessment, and then I prescribe a regime for them. Invariably, it would include nutrition, exercise, stress management, sleep, and so on. And I always ask them, do you promise yourself to follow what we just discussed here?" "Oh, sure, doctor, of course I'll do just what you said." A month later, they come in, and they are in worse condition than what they were when they came in the first place. "What happened?" I asked them. "Did you follow my regime?" "Well, doctor, the first 2 weeks were just like you said. And then afterwards, it all fell apart." "What happened? Why did it all fall apart?" "Willpower. We lost our willpower completely. We couldn't stick with your regime that you prescribed for us. Daddy, I need your help to understand this willpower thing, figure it out, understand the science behind it, and then see how I can help my patients stick with the regime that I prescribe for them. This willpower thing, Daddy, is killing my patients." And with that started a partnership between my daughter and myself. And for the last 2 years, we have been studying the science behind willpower and success. And this evening, I want to share some of this with you. So one of the first studies we came across as we were diving into this host of peer-reviewed papers and books, and I took 3 university courses on the topic, was this study from the American Psychological Association that said 31% of people who have undertaken an improvement in their wellness fail to pursue their goal because of willpower. So this study right there corroborated, at least in my mind, what my daughter told me about her experiences in her clinic. So in the next 2 years, we've developed this willpower program that consists of what scientists call 9 interventions that all share one objective, and that is to help you overcome behaviors that are detrimental to you, adopt behaviors that are healthier and better for you as a person holistically, achieve your goals or pursue your goals with a higher likelihood of success, and ultimately make you the best person you could possibly become. And of those 9 interventions, this evening I want to share with you 2 of them. Willpower and mindfulness meditation, mindfulness practice. Willpower is perhaps the best scientific predictor of success in life, more than anything else that science has been able to find. And it all started with this experiment, the marshmallow experiment. Anyone have heard about the marshmallow experiment? Many of you do. Professor Walter Mischel in 1968, he was then at Stanford University, brought a bunch 5-year-olds from the daycare on campus into the laboratory, set them down at the table, put a single marshmallow in front of them, and said, kids, I have to go to make a very important phone call right now. For 15 minutes, I'll be back in 15 minutes. You have two choices. The first one is you can eat this marshmallow immediately now, as soon as you wish. But if you are able to wait for 15 minutes, I'll give you a second marshmallow. And you'll have 2 delicious marshmallows to enjoy. 30 years later, Michel followed up with the very same individuals. And what he found was that 2/3 of the kids that could not exert their willpower and wait the 15 minutes, they were all doing in life. The 1/3 of the kids that were able to exert their self-control and refrain from this urge for immediate gratification, they were all doing much better in all aspects of their life. Career, financial stability, marital relationships, community work, you name it, they were better in it, no exception. So, the Colombian journalist, Joaquín de Posada, went to Colombia and tried to reproduce the same experiment over there. And let me share with you the short video of what he found out.
So I went to Colombia, and I got to do the experiment, and it was very cool. It was 4 or 5 people talking, and essentially what happened.
Hasta para años, esta para crear sin embargo, ellos, tanto de los abuelos,
Isn't she adorable? She makes me smile. I've been doing these presentations now for a year and a bit, since last April a year ago that it is, and every time I see this, adorable. So, soon after Michel published his paper, moms and dads all over the United States dragged their Johnny or Jane, their 4 or 5-year-old kids, to the dinner table, set them down, put a single marshmallow in front of them, pulled out the stopwatch, and said, okay, Johnny, let's see how strong your willpower is. And you can imagine the horror on their faces when little Johnny could not even hold back for 2 minutes. And he dove and devoured the marshmallow. And the poor parents, what will become of you, little Johnny? You couldn't even hold for 2 minutes. What shall we do about you? And Professor Michel realized he was sending out the wrong message. And he came out immediately after that with a series of papers and television appearances, you name it, saying, no, people, you misunderstood. We have IQ, which is all but set by the time we reach late childhood. And we cannot change our IQ. It is what it is. But willpower, we can work on. We can develop it. We can make it stronger, And we can have it serve us well, the same way it served the kids in the marshmallow experiment. So that started a whole avalanche of research work by a whole bunch of different researchers that came up with ideas of how is it that we can actually work on our willpower and make it stronger and make it serve us well for the rest of our lives. And Mark Boravin from the University of Albany summarized it in one of his papers, and what he said is, you can improve your willpower if you take small steps of self-control and work on those small activities of self-control every single day of your life. Over a period of time, your willpower will be up. So the next question was, what are those small steps of self-control that we can actually take to improve our willpower? And scientists did a lot of work, really papers upon papers, to come up with those very specific, practical, day-to-day ideas to improve our self-control. Those little actions that we can take every day. The first one, for example, is decide to be right on time or before for every single meeting or appointment that you have. And track it down. And do this over 2 or 3 months until you habitualize it, until it becomes second nature for you, that you are always on time. Second one is your to-do list. Make sure that you always, no matter what, accomplish the first 3 items on your to-do list. No matter what. No compromises, no excuses. The third one is my favorite. Using the non-dominant hand to perform normal, simple day-to-day activity. So, about 9 months ago, I took upon myself this challenge and started by moving my mouse, the computer mouse, from the right hand, because I'm right-handed, my dominant hand is the right hand, to the left side. In the beginning, it was pandemonium. The cursor will go in all kinds of directions, and I couldn't control my work, and it was really frustrating. But I stuck with it, and a couple of weeks later, it became better and better, and after a few weeks, I habitualized it. Today, in fact, I'm bilingual. Both hands are as proficient in handling the computer mouse. Then I take the next challenge, which is brushing my teeth with my left hand. And that was hurtful in the beginning, because the toothbrush would go in all kinds of uncontrolled directions and hurt my gums. But I didn't yield, I didn't give up, I stuck with it for a few weeks, and today I only do it with my non-dominant hand. Then I took a leap of faith. And I started shaving with my non-dominant hand. Ouch it was. At the beginning, I did have some bloody accidents, I must admit. But over time, I became better. And as you see today, I did shave with my non-dominant hand, and I'm still intact. Not a lot of bleeding. There is a little speck here. But over time, I started noticing that applying this practice indeed did improve my self-control in all aspects of my life, and did improve my willpower, and got my resilience, as Roger was saying, to a level that I'm not yielding anymore, I'm not stepping back, I'm not stopping, I'm not giving up. So, my recommendation to you is think about those little things that you do every day anyway. Do it in a better way or a different way, and over a period of time, scientifically self-control, and willpower. Just stick with it, and it will work. The second topic I want to share with you today is mindfulness meditation and mindfulness practice. And this starts with a little story about my coaching client, Jackie. Jackie came to me maybe 4 months ago or so now, and wanted me to help her with a gripping addiction that she had that was destroying her family and hurting her children. She said, "Yuri, I've been to 4 therapists before you. They didn't help me a thing. I don't trust them. I don't want to work with them. I do want to work with you, but only on one condition, that you don't push me to do things that I'm not ready for." And our coaching started. For 2-3 weeks, nothing moved. And I was getting desperate. I really wanted to help Jackie get out of this addiction that she had, but I couldn't figure out how. And then one evening after our coaching session, I got back home and said, "You know what, I have to do something different." And I took it upon myself to do a deep dive study and research about what tools, what techniques, what can I do as a coach to help Jackie with this addiction. The next meeting, I said, "Jackie, what do you say to this? If instead of meeting once a week, we meet twice a week, and we start each one of our sessions with 30 minutes mindfulness meditation. It will not cost you anything extra. What do you say?" And I saw a little bit of a blank face, and my mind was racing, and then she said, "Let me think about it." Okay, if you wish, you can try. And for the next 24 hours, I really was anxious. But then the call came in, and Jackie said, "We're on. We're doing it." That was about 2.5 months ago. Ever since then, every single meeting, we would sit down and do mindfulness meditation together for half an hour, twice a week. And this past Friday, Jackie tells me, "You know, Yuri, this week I went to the store to buy myself a new dress. I have not been to the store to buy myself anything for 2 years. And you know what else? This week I went out running. I have not been running for 2 years either. It looks like you turned the corner," I said. "Yes," she said, "it looks like it." And so what is this wonderful mindfulness meditation? So the definition I like to use is a conscious direction of our attention, of our brain, to focus on our present moment experiences with openness and curiosity and a willingness to accept what is right now for us, rather than ruminating about the past, worrying about the future, or complaining about the present. And I know I do a lot of this all the time, every single day. How about you? Do you ever ruminate? Do you ever worry about your future? Do you ever complain about the present? So why is it that we actually have this brain chatter all the time that we cannot control and does all these things to us, despite our best wishes? So scientists were able to find out with the advent of fMRI, functional magnetic resonance, you know, this big machine that they slide you into the machine and they close the door on you and you feel claustrophobic, but it gives you an image of what your brain is doing in real time. And scientists found that there are 6 areas in the brain that are a little faded, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 over there, that they call the default mode brain network. It's a network of areas inside the brain that if you're not focused on a specific task, like doing the Sudoku, or reading a book, or watching a suspense movie or something, then this default mode brain network engages in this brain chatter. And what it does is either assessment and judgment of the present moment, and typically not in a good way. We always look for false and negative things to cast our judgment on. Or it's what scientists call time travel. Either going to the past or worrying about the future. And what scientists found is, A, this brain chatter is very unproductive. It doesn't help us at all pursue our goals and become better people in our lives. But they also found that this mindfulness meditation that has gone viral in the last couple of years is actually helping us suppress the activity of this brain chatter. Just through doing this mindfulness meditation for a period of time, scientists say 2 to 3 months, and you'll notice demonstrably your brain is becoming calmer. And this amount of brain chatter is suppressed. So the Dalai Lama, a couple of years ago, brought over a group of Buddhist monks, lifetime meditators, 20, 30 years in caves somewhere out in northern India, where they are, and meditated. He brought them into the United States and sponsored an fMRI study. He wanted to understand, together with the scientists, what is it in their brain that is different from non-long-term meditators. And what they found is that the prefrontal cortex, that area, front area of the brain, which is really our executive function, our rational brain, our thinking brain, our willpower brain, that part of our brain in those monks is a lot more densely connected and built up and much stronger than the prefrontal cortices of non-long-term meditation. What they also found, though, which is very good news for us, is that even after 8 weeks of half an hour a day of mindfulness meditation, the fMRI is beginning to pick up some changes in our brains that will make our thinking brain, our rational brain stronger and counterbalance more effectively our emotional brain. The brain that tells us to do things that we might sometimes regret later. And so the benefits of this mindfulness meditation practice, emotional regulation, that is perhaps the most noticed and dramatic change that you can expect in your life is emotional control. And I used to be a very irritable guy, especially when I was starting this business and I didn't know where it would go, and I would become very frustrated. Things did not go as I expected them to go, and I became irritable. And every small domestic dispute would flare into a big fight. I would run out of the room, I would run into the bathroom, lock the door behind me, look in the mirror and say, Yuri, what is happening to you? Why can you not then control the situation? Why are you falling into this trap time and time again and having these quarrels all the time? I couldn't control it. And then I started this. And now we have not had a quarrel in our chambers for over 9 months. And if my wife were here with me, she would attest to that. So I want to play with you, for you, a short video. You recognize this guy? Anderson Cooper. Here is for 60 minutes, and it's only 2 minutes video. Thank you.
We've got the physical, exercise components down, and now it's about working out how can we actually train our minds.
Dr. Brewer is trying to understand how mindfulness can alter the functioning of the brain. He uses a cap lined with 128 electrodes.
We're going to start filling each of these 128 wells with combustion gel.
The electrodes are able to pick up signals from the posterior cingulate, part of a brain network linked to memory and emotion.
This is all just picking up electrical signal from the top of your head.
Since attending the mindfulness retreat, I've been meditating daily and was curious to see if it had an impact on my brain.
We're going to have you start with thinking of something that was very anxiety-provoking for you.
Okay. When I thought about something stressful, the cells of my brain's posterior cingulate immediately started firing, shown by the red lines that went off the chart on the computer screen.
Just drop into meditation.
Okay. When I let go of those stressful thoughts and refocused on my breath, within seconds, the brain cells that had been firing quieted down, shown by the blue lines on the computer.
That's really fascinating to see like that.
Dr. Brewer believes everyone can train their brains to reach that blue mindfulness zone, but he says all the technology we're surrounded by makes it difficult.
If you look at people out on the street, if you look at people at restaurants, nobody's having conversations anymore. They're sitting at dinner looking at their phone because their brain is so addicted to it.
You really think there's something in the brain that's addicted to that?
Well, it's the same reward pathways as addiction, absolutely.
I'm, on mobile devices all day long, and I feel like I could go through an entire day and not be present.
And what's that like?
It's exhausting.
Yeah. So all of this is leading to a societal exhaustion.
The irony is many of the people responsible for creating the gadgets that distract us are themselves practicing mindfulness. More than 2,000 people from companies like Google, Facebook, and Instagram showed up earlier this year in San Francisco for a mindfulness conference called Wisdom 2.0.
Please welcome our guest.
So you could see what this mind chatter is causing to our brain, that stress, and how that stress is relieved the moment we go into this mindfulness zone. So what I'd like to do with you now, if you would, completely optional, and if you don't feel comfortable, that's okay. But if you'd like to join me with a short exercise of mindfulness, so please, if you would like to join, please sit comfortably in your chair. It will be 2 minutes. Both feet on the floor. start by focusing on the sensation of your feet pressing on the floor. The toes, the heels, the arches. What does that sensation feel like? And bring your attention now to your buttocks and the pressure that you're feeling from the chair. And see if you can hold your attention right there to feel that sensation. And bring your attention now to your breathing. Breathe normally, not too deep, not too shallow, not too fast, not too strong. Just let your breath be what it is. Feel the cooler air rushing in through your nostrils and slightly warmer air coming out. See if you can detect this inflection point, this pause in your breathing between the inflow and the outflow. And should you experience any thoughts coming in and out of your mind, just acknowledge those thoughts, let them go, and bring your attention back to your breathing. I'll be silent now for a few seconds and allow you to practice this in silence. And when you're ready, gently open your eyes and bring your attention back to the thoughts. So the question is, how do we bring this mindfulness meditation practice into our daily lives? And there are several ways of doing so. The first is very simple. Do what you already do every single day of your life, but do it in a mindful manner. So I used to eat my breakfast in front of the TV, BBC or CNN on, Globe and Mail on my left, and I'm eating my breakfast, and then my wife would ask me, honey, what cereal did you have for breakfast? And I said, I had cereal? I thought I had toast. About 6 months ago, I stopped that. No more TV, no more newspapers. I completely focused on the taste, the temperature, the texture, the sounds, the sights. My full attention is on that bowl of cereal every single day. You can do it whilst you walk, you can do it whilst you run as well. I'm a runner. I run half marathons. I meditate whilst I'm running. Not during the race, but when I practice. So that's one way. The other way is 5 or 10 minutes whenever you have a moment. On the train, on your lunch break, before an important meeting, plug in the earphones, put on a mindfulness meditation that I'll speak about, recording that I'll speak about in a moment, and do your 5 to 10 minutes. Very easy to do, and I'll give you the resources in a moment. But if you really want to see these changes in your prefrontal cortex, in your controlling, rational mind, that will be able to overcome and outweigh your emotional self, then you have to do the 20 to 30 minutes a day. And you have a number of free resources on the internet with great recordings of guided mindfulness meditation. Download it onto your iPhone and listen to it whenever you want to perform your meditation. One of them is by Dr. John Kabat-Zinn, who actually brought mindfulness to the Western world in 1979. He's the guy that was talking about the gobbledygook here in Anderson Cooper's. He has an 8-week free program, great program, free to download all his recording, watch countless videos, really very powerful program. Another one is from the University of California at Los Angeles. It's called Mark, and it's also a free program. You have to be dedicated to this. I do it 5:30 every morning before I get into my day and before there is anything that can come between me and my meditation. Because I know, for me personally, once I'm out and once I'm into my daily schedule, there is no way I can pull myself back to do this. So I do it before I start. So I want to leave you with one core message from today. If you remember nothing from the science, please remember this one thing. And that is, in the last 20, 30 years, scientists have found a lot about how our brain works and how we can improve actually the power of our brain to help us lead a better, higher quality life. But one thing the scientists have not been able to deliver on, and that's quick fixes or shortcuts. They have not found, to the best of my research, any quick methods to actually deliver those high quality benefits that all of the scientists talk about. The only way to get those benefits is to commit to take action, active, deliberate action to improve the quality of your life. It will not happen just by attending seminars or reading books or watching videos.